here's an example for project number 1. So you're going to be able to put this information into a PowerPoint presentation, and you have your first page, which should have a title, your name, and also what your title is of your particular project. Now, the next slide should be the introduction. So why did you choose this particular topic? So here is a full paragraph describing the survey was decided to ask how many times per week people order food outside of their home. So, and was also wondering whether part-time or full-time working hours made a difference in the amount of times each week that they decided on delivery, fast food, or restaurant eating. So therefore, this is describing what the particular project is according to why you chose to do the project. So this is going to go in your second slide. And you can put in other pictures and so forth, because you also want to make sure that you're designing your PowerPoint presentation. The next slide now is describing the survey method and the population. So in this particular example, it was chosen to use a voluntary response survey via Facebook to collect and analyze the data. And then you want to describe how is this representing the population. Does it or does it not? Okay. And then also to your right over here is the data that was collected. The first column represents the full-time. The second column represents part-time. Now this data was put into StatCrunch. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up here. And you can see here that you can title your first column. You can go ahead and write in full-time and then put in your numbers of your data that you collected. And then you have your part-time, and you're going to put in your numbers of what you collected there. And again, you should have a paragraph describing, okay, what your survey method and how it compares to the population. Then your next slide is your dot plots. So you're going to create 2 dot plots. One, in this case, is part-time. The other one is full-time. And then you're going to have a paragraph describing the differences or the similarities between the dot plots. So the dot plots again are represented below. It says the part-time dot plot shows that the data is skewed right. The full-time dot plot is also skewed right. So these are the things that I want you to make sure that you're putting in there. Next, you have box plots. So you can create a either side-by-side dot plot, box plot, excuse me. And again, you're going to have a paragraph describing the box plots. Here it says the graphs to the right are box plots. The median for part-time employees is 2. Okay, and the median for the full-time employees is 3. So this is comparing the 2 box plots. Okay, you also have the minimum values and so forth. What's happening with the minimum values? So again, this is your next slide, which is your box plot. Your next slide is your histograms. You're going to have 2 histograms. So what does the one histogram compare to the other histogram? So again, here's a paragraph describing the first histogram for the part-time, and then here's your full-time. Then you're describing the shape, outliers, center, and spread for each data set. So the box plot to the left is for reference. So it shows that Q1, Q2, and Q3 and outliers. Okay. It also shows a minimum maximum value. So therefore, here you're describing the shape, outlier, center, and spread for each data set. The next slide, you're going to take the sample statistics summary. So this is the sample statistics that you can generate, again, from StatCrunch. And then you're going to describe the sample statistics summary. So what does the mean, median, mode tell you about this particular data set, okay, between the two? Okay, what does the standard deviation tell us? What is the difference between the standard deviation? What is the difference between the mode? What is the difference between the range? So these are the information that you want to make sure that you're describing in your paragraph as you apply the sample statistics summary. Now, for the slide for the conclusion, you should be able to then answer if your data and how it applies to your question of what you were researching. So you can describe, okay, what was the mean, the median, and mode doing for those data sets, for the full-time or for the part-time. Okay, but you're answering the question that you asked in your introduction. And then you want to describe, okay, why was this important to you? So as you can see here, there's going to be 9 full slides here that you should have when you're turning in your presentation. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to figure out how can we copy our graphs and put it into PowerPoint. So if we go to graph, okay, and let's go ahead and go to dot plot. We're going to select full time, and then we're going to select compute. So up here we have the options button. So when you click on the options buttons, we want to select copy. So now here, if you highlight this, it says right click the image and select copy image or copy. And then to paste in a Word or PowerPoint, you're going to choose the paste special and paste as device independent bitmap. So let's go ahead and select copy the image. And then if we come in here, we're going to paste it in here. And there is our dot plot. So that's one way of being able to bring it in into your PowerPoint presentation. Okay, also, you can do the same thing with the summary statistics. So if you want to go for the summary statistics and select columns, we got full-time, part-time. Okay, we want to know the number of each data set. We want to know the mean. We want to know the standard deviation. We want to know the median, the range, the minimum, and the max. Quartile 1, quartile 3, and interquartile range. And then we also want the mode. So we select compute. And now that we selected compute, we have our data set. Now, copying this information is a little bit different than copying the graphs because we need to copy the data table. So what you want to do is you're going to highlight the entire data set, and then you're going to right click and select copy. And then what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to bring this into a Word document. So you can see here I already pulled that information in here, but I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So we're going to go ahead and select paste, and now we have our table. And so now we can then take this table and then we can copy that table by highlighting it, and then we're going to bring it into our PowerPoint display. And so therefore we can go ahead and then move our data table where we would like into the PowerPoint presentation. And that concludes our project description.